The kernel is the core entity in your computer that separates the software that runs on your computer and even large parts of the operating system from the hardware that your computer uses, either integrated into it or the hardware you attach to your computer. My name is Adi, I'm a software engineer at Amazon, and in this video I'm going to explain how do kernels work. So a kernel basically is the core entity of an operating system. Before operating systems like Windows or Mac OS existed, we used to just have like basic kernels. And then basically what a kernel does is it does scheduling. So it determines what software or processes have access to your CPU or cores at any given moment. It also does memory management. So every piece of software thinks it has unlimited storage and memory, but in reality, we're just moving information across from the hard drive to the memory and back and forth. So it's doing scheduling, it's letting it use the CPU. It's also doing memory management. It's making sure the data the program needs is always accessible to it in the closest form possible, either in registers, caches, or RAM. And then one step further, it also manages device drivers. So there's two types of kernels. Monolithic kernels basically have all the manuals or instruction sets for every single hardware piece on your computer or external device you add. And it puts a lot of pressure on one piece of kernel, a lot of like information to keep in mind, and so reduces your RAM or memory in general, and space. But the opposite is a microkernel structure where the kernel basically has a basic set of instructions, and then each device has its own instruction set that's only given to it when it needs to. It's like the difference between you having a toolkit and memorizing how to use every single tool versus when you need that tool, you then read the tool's instruction set only then. That's like basically how it works. And so it's doing scheduling. It's like letting it know when to use the CPU, how long a program can use the CPU for before it trades it off to another program, and it does this very quickly, so it looks like everything's running at the same time. It does memory management, moving information between hard drive and RAM. It also does device drivers so that all your hardware can speak to your software properly, and then finally, it's also going to be handling security to some extent. That for the most part is operating system. It also does file systems. So like NXT, I think, is one for Microsoft. EXT is for Linux. Mac has its own. I think it might be called APFS. I might be wrong about these acronyms. But basically, how are your files structured? Each folder is actually just a file pointing to all the files inside that folder, but it's going to basically determine how do we break down data, and it matters when you're reading a bunch of files, writing to a bunch of files, about how quick it can be in your computer. And that's all there is to a kernel.